Hey, I'm Danny. I'm hiking the Pacific Crest Trail from Mexico to Canada. And, oh man, where am I? I'm in Cascade Locks, which is the last stop in Oregon. In fact, if I turn this way, right there, that is the Bridge of the Gods. And on the other side of it, that's Washington. But I can't go there yet. I've got a little bit of a conundrum I'm trying to figure out. Let me show you this. Okay, so that is about 4 or 5 days worth of food, and that is about 4 or 5 days worth of food. And on my back, I have 4 or 5 days worth of food. We have 2 stops coming up that don't have any resupply at all, and I just found out about it. So I've got to send 1 bag of food forward like 100 miles and send the other bag of food forward like 200 miles. The problem is, one of those stops accepts post office. The second one does not. I can only send UPS or FedEx. And there's no UPS or FedEx in this town. There's UPS and FedEx on the other side of that water I just showed you, which is not that far. But when you're on foot, everything's really far. It is a 5-minute drive to the next town, but now I've got to figure out how to get there. So I might be sending a box out with the post office and then hitching to the next town to send a box out with with UPS, and then hitching back to the trail. So it's going to be an interesting morning. All right, I literally got the last 2 flat rate boxes. Apparently they've already been picked over by the other hikers, and somehow I've got to get all this food into these 2 boxes. This might not happen actually. But a little one stroke of genius. I talked to my roommate back home. I'm gonna send him one of the boxes and have him send it FedEx to the next location. So that's now doable. And that's great because that's the second location that has that. Oh, is it? I think it's the second location. Crap, now I gotta double check. Yeah, it's the second location, and there's hundreds of miles between here and there, so should be plenty of time for this box to get back to my house and my roommate to send it out FedEx, which is ridiculous, but that's what we're doing. All right, boxes away. I have to admit, I'm pretty impressed. A flat rate box is like 20 bucks, and that thing was heavy with food, and still it's 20 bucks. That's really cool. So now I'm gonna see if I can catch up with the group, get some breakfast and coffee, and then get walking today. I noticed there's these really, really old cars over here. They're all for sale. That's awesome.
Look for photo.
Love it.
But yeah, this all came out the river this morning.
Wow.
A lot of Atlantic salmon.
Atlantic salmon.
Oh no, this one right here is Columbia River salmon.
Columbia River salmon.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And this is the Columbia right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's incredible. All right, here's the Bridge of the Gods, and it's gonna bring us from Oregon to Washington. So let's get over it. I gotta climb more hill though. Oh man, I just keep thinking back to, I'm so thankful that I'm able to send one of those boxes home and have my friend Alex forward them using FedEx or UPS, because the location I'm sending to won't accept United States Postal Service, which doesn't make sense to me. I thought they were supposed to deliver everywhere. If anywhere, they were the ones who were supposed to use, but apparently not in this case. So yeah, by being able to do that, I'm literally saving probably almost a day. By the time I had hitched to the next town and gotten that box sent and hitched back and gotten started, I basically would have lost most of the day. Meanwhile, you know, he's in Vegas, so he, like 2 blocks away, is always everything. You know, FedEx, UPS, post office, he's everywhere. So really lucked out with that. It's surprising what you end up taking for granted, is what I'm learning. This is a pretty minimalist trip. I mean, you're carrying everything on your back, right? So It's amazing how much you don't need. But it's also interesting that every time I get back to civilization, it's a lot just to get around. It's a lot to get specific things, like specific gear or a specific shop or a specific post office versus FedEx. So it is pretty incredible to see and feel the difference between civilization and minimalist out in the woods. Oh wow, this is a little creepy. There's no sidewalk. He said, get on the left-hand side, face traffic, and walk that way. So here we go. Wow, it is gorgeous. Look at all these hawks just hovering. And on the other side of the bridge, it's equally gorgeous. Wow. Oh man, I didn't realize there's no road. You're literally just walking on a grate. Actually, the weirdest part about looking down here is that I'm afraid of dropping my phone because it will absolutely fit through any one of those. All right, it's coming to an end. Ready? Boom, solid ground. I am amazed they allow us to walk across that. Like, if this was a busier road, I don't think they'd be letting us walk across. I think maybe a total of 20 cars went by, but wow, it's a tight bridge, and there's, I mean, the guardrail's here, but there's nowhere to walk. So I'm really impressed that they let us on there with force. I just got a screenshot of the elevation gain today. We started out at near sea level, like I think 200 foot above sea level, and we're going to 3,500 foot above sea level in about 15 miles. So today, I'm aiming for the top of that hill. Woo! But man, it feels good to be back on trail. I was just having a chat with another guy across the bridge with, Daddy-O, about how just being minimalist in the woods versus being in an urban area, it's kind of nice to be back in the woods. Yeah, so nice being in the woods again. Also, there's the Pacific Crest Trail. I just realized I'm gonna get to be walking through the woods of Washington during the fall. So all these leaves are gonna change color in the next couple weeks. That's gonna be awesome. It's like a green tunnel. Awesome. I grew up in New York from my younger, like, say kindergarten to, I don't know, 13 years old. And I used to go across the street. I'm out in Long Island, by the way, not the city. When I say New York, I'm thinking Long Island. And in our neighborhood, across the street was woods. And we literally would just cross the street and go into the woods and just play in the woods all day, every day. So to walk through the woods kind of reminds me of being a kid. And I'm excited about the leaves changing color because I moved to California and to Vegas, and there's not as many seasons. I think Jim Gaffigan said it best. He's like, yeah, I like seasons. That's why I moved to a place that skips the crappy ones. So we don't get much snow or winter in Vegas or California. Well, Southern California. But I do have to say I miss the turning of the leaves. So yeah, I am genuinely excited that in the next couple weeks I'm gonna get to see all these leaves changing color. Take a look at this. Someone placed a heart-shaped rock in the bark on this tree. It kind of reminds me of the rock that I left on top of Mount Whitney. Ha, man, that was a while ago. I'll have to link that video. I never expected to pop out of that green tunnel to find this. just rocks. This valley is beautiful. I'm very close to the top of the climb for today. This view is spectacular. Oh, nice. The fall colors have already begun. All right, I made it to the top. Man, it's gorgeous. And I'm so thankful for these clouds. It's nice and cool today. There's also some in the other direction, but these trees are in the way right now. All right, I made it to the top. That was 12 miles forward on the PCT, and what was it, 3,000 foot of elevation gain? That was quite a warm-up. It's about 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'm gonna get some calories and then just keep going. I've got another 3.5 miles to the next water source, and I'm looking forward to going downhill. I was walking down trail and I spotted this little side trail here that looks pretty interesting. Let's check it out. Look at this giant rock. Holy cow. Oh, wow. Well, I made a slight miscalculation. I looked at a bunch of water sources that were ahead of me and they were all looked great. And I had enough water that I just walked right by. And without actually checking the next water source, I just assumed, oh great, I'll have water in 2 miles. And so I'm out of water. I walked the 2 miles and it turns out that water source is dry. So it looks like the next water source that's not dry is 4 more miles, and it's about 6 o'clock right now. So that means by 8 o'clock, I will have water again. But on the plus side, it is literally all downhill. So I'm not worried at all. Just kind of a oops kind of a moment, and I'll get there. A little bit of a light drizzle started maybe an hour ago, and it's not super bad, but it's one of those things where it's like you're just wondering, is it going to get bad? But there's no way to tell. All right, I found the water and it's about 7:30. I also ran into Nemo, and Nemo said the Breakfast Club was probably going to be another 0.8 miles forward. So, and there's supposed to be water at 0.4, so less than a mile. That's less than half an hour. I should find the whole group. The tricky part is it's kind of raining, and I know they normally cowboy camp so they can take up less space as a group, but if they've all got tents, who knows what's going to happen. There's actually a bunch of people already camping here by the water. I count 1, 2, probably 6 tents already, and I haven't really seen a spot where I could set up my own tent. So yeah, I think I'm just going to keep walking and join Nemo and the rest of the group, and hopefully they'll have space. If not, I'll just keep walking. Well, I got to the road by 8 o'clock and there was no one there. So I'm just going to see whatever looks campable coming up. I'm just going to take it. So I'll catch up with those guys tomorrow probably. So far I've gone 20 miles today, which is pretty respectable for having not started until like 10 or 10:30. So I'm pretty good with how far I've come today. I'm happy to be camping. As soon as I find something, and I've got so much food that I definitely know that I'm gonna have no issues getting to the next stop.